Yeah.
All right. Well, give it up for Rick Stojak from the shores of Rio de Janeiro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Drummers Education Connection. My name's Jeremy Steinkohler. I'm here with these two great dudes, fantastic drummers, great educators, and just great people. Chip Ritter and Rick
Hello.
Stojak. And Rick Stojak.
Welcome, everyone.
Not here with us today is our fourth compatriot, Bart Robley. I think he's on the road this week. We wish him well with what he's doing. And we'll be seeing him next week. Incidentally, in 2 weeks on the 16th, is that right? Today's the 2nd, no, 16th of December, we're going to have our annual Deck the Halls show, which is our holiday episode where we talk about all these great products we recommend. And hopefully we will have some great giveaways for some of our listeners. So be sure to tune in every week, but especially in 2 weeks to check out, get some free stuff and also find some gifts for yourself or your drumming friends or partners. So, good morning from San Diego. Hey there.
Hey, hello, San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego. That's where Rick Stojak's from. I'm guessing you're one of his people.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're all Rick Stojak people, really, because
we are.
He's just the greatest guy there could be.
You guys.
We're going to start today, before we kick off our topic, which is drumming priorities, we're going to start with a little good things. So I'm going to kick it down to Rick, and I'm going to ask you, Rick, what is going on that's good for you right now?
You know what? I was just feeling so grateful for all of my students. I've taught 66 people this year, and just going over the schedule with them, year end, it's kind of like wrapping up, where have we been, talking about goals for next year. And it's just been a wonderful year, and just seeing people evolve is my good thing. And then just so grateful to have them plan to come back next year. So I'm excited about that. So that's a very, very good thing. And I've got my Sabian Education Network t-shirt that Joe Bergamini gave me.
Nice.
So what does the back say, Rick?
The back says,
Here, we'll read it for you.
Can you see it? Drum lessons here.
Let's see if I enlarge my screen. It says drum lessons available here, right there.
Yep.
Right there.
And 10-year anniversary of Sabian Education Network.
Nice.
So if you're a drum teacher,
Nice.
check that out.
I got to notice that we have been doing this for 5 years now.
Wow.
5 years.
That's
5
crazy.
years.
Wow. I thought we just started.
I know. It
Boy.
feels like it.
Boy, and we're still working on getting the audio and video together.
All right, Chip, what's going on good for you?
And you know what, man? I spend some of my time when I'm not drumming and I'm not doing deck. I spend some of my time helping young men get clean and sober.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a young man named Brian who just celebrated a year clean and sober. So he's got a year anniversary celebrating that. And I'm just so super proud of him and the work that he's put in and the sacrifices he's made to get to where he's at. I'm just super thrilled about that. Brian's got a year sober. So that's really cool. His future is looking a lot brighter than it did a year ago.
Man, that's great. That's a great thing.
Man.
Thanks for
sharing.
How about
that. You? What's your good thing, Jeremy?
I got a bunch of good things. I can't remember. Was I here when we did the PASIC debrief?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So I told that story already about going to visit Chicago, and so I've had a couple of gigs since then. I've got a couple of really cool ones coming up, and if it's okay with you guys, I want to share a video snippet from one of my gigs last week.
Yes, please.
Totally.
I was fortunate enough to play with this really phenomenal violinist, a jazz violinist named Mads Tolling. He's from Copenhagen. He's a Grammy-winning musician, and he is going to be joining us on Evan's album this summer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But first, but I got to play with him. I think I shared the wrong window. Hold on one second.
Violinist.
Yeah. Just wait. You'll see. Hold on. Where we go? Come on. Here we go. This is Elton John's Honky Cat, and he's just opening up for a ripping solo.
Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. That's
I
so
like it.
great. That's so
That was
great.
great.
Thanks. Yeah, wasn't that guy just phenomenal?
He's so good. I like
Yeah.
the drummer. I like the drummer.
Uh,
What
Yeah.
kind of crash were you using? That thing was 25 inches.
I did not have a crash. I had 2 ride cymbals.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
I
why
had,
it was 25 inches.
yeah, there's a 21 and a 20, I think. Yeah.
All
So
right.
most of the time when I set up for jazz gigs, I actually use 2 rides and I don't even use a crash cymbal.
That's what I
Why
love
is
about
that?
drums. You know, it's so customizable.
Well, so they're, they're jazzy rides and they wash pretty well, right? So you can crash them and they sound crashy. But it's also nice to have 2 different rides for, like, you're playing behind a soloist and then it switches to the next solo and you want to have somewhere else to go sonically to keep time. And you don't want to keep time on a crash because it's just so wimpy and washy. So
Yeah.
you have another ride cymbal that gives you another flavor, different
Oh,
wine.
I
You
never
can
thought
pair
of that.
the next course of the meal. It's like, oh, it goes from the flavor of one solo to the next. It's nice to have another ride cymbal to go to. But at least one of them is washy enough that you can use it like a crash and it functions just fine like that too.
That's
You,
cool.
you know what was interesting at PASIC when the Jeff Hamilton trio played and Jeff was playing a China. He did a
He had
lot of
two
China work.
rides and a China. No
Yeah.
crash. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
unusual.
cool.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So
Anyway, thanks for listening.
good stuff. That was amazing. Oh, by the way, it's cool to see you at the back room. I've seen Jeremy play at the back room. And
Nice.
that's real brick, folks. That's not AI brick in the background.
It's
Real
true. And
stuff.
it's funny because you don't see brick in the Bay Area because of earthquakes. You actually can't have brick almost anywhere, but that one's got all this reinforcement stuff. So it has this brick facade that's real bricks. Anyways,
so cool.
That's a cool venue. Yeah, they have great music there pretty much like 5 nights a week. That's if you're in the Bay Area, go check out the back room. Also, if you happen to be in the Bay Area this weekend, our friend Jason Slota at Round Sound Cymbals is having a free event, but you do have to RSVP, and I'll try to find the link and put it in the chat, or you can text me for it. But it's this guy, oh gosh, he was a Zildjian guy for the longest time. Francis, hold on one second. Paul Francis, who works for Royal Cymbals, and he's a cymbal craftsman. He spent years working at Zildjian. He's going to be hand hammering a ride all day long, and it's sort of a free demonstration on how cymbals are made. And they're going to have extra blanks that you can come and hammer yourself and make your own cymbal and take it home.
No way.
Yeah,
no
and
way.
they're going to have, I think it's free beer and free tamales. So
free
if that's
beer
not
and tamales, you had me at free beer.
Yeah, if that's
cancel Christmas, I'm coming up for
that.
Pretty cool. So text me if you're interested if you're in the Bay Area, I'll let you know about it. Anyway, finally, we are going to get to our topic of the day, which is drumming. What are your drumming priorities? So we thought this was kind of an interesting topic to talk about. It's an open-ended question. We'd love to hear your input if you're listening about what you perceive to be your drumming priorities, or what you think drumming priorities should be for people. In terms of, we were thinking about it in terms of, like, or at least I was, in terms of students and, what are the sort of pillars of drumming that you need to, have solid as you develop your skill set. But you know,
Yeah.
it can be different for everybody. So I'll kick it to you guys. Chip, what comes up for you when you think about drumming
And
priorities?
you know, a lot of things come. That's a loaded question because there's so much to be thought about. Like, what are my drumming goals for myself, or what are they for my students, or what,
Right.
you know what I mean? As like, are you talking a career goal, or
Right.
my priorities basically sum up as far as I want to be in the best shape that I can be at all times, drumming wise. So my
Mm.
priorities are practice daily and to keep myself at least learning one or two different things that I don't know very well that I can't play yet. So I'm always kind of working on something on the frontier, and I'm always kind of practicing to kind of keep up my abilities on the drum set. But I like what you're thinking about the students. That's a really good. What are the pillars of learning, and what are the checkpoints that I go through? I have a big piece of paper, a paper listed out what they are, and a notebook of the lesson material themselves. I don't have it with me, but rolls, the rudiments, triplets, shuffled feels, the jazz ride, swing patterns, things like that are like benchmarks that I use for my students. So
Mhm.
my priorities are almost all over the place when it comes to drumming. I'm thinking about drumming nine times out of 10 during the day. So
So I'm curious. By the way, for those of you who aren't familiar with Chip and his drumming, Chip can play anything. So
Anything.
for him to be working on stuff that he feels like he can't play, it's like, hey, we're always, no matter how good you are, no matter how big your circle of knowledge, you know, there's always more to get. So
oh man, there's
Yes.
some drummers out there that I watch online that I sit there and I'm like, oh man, geesh, how do I? Wow, where do you
yeah,
even begin?
right. I have
Mhm.
So
that
there's
same
there's
feeling.
inspiration all over the place for me to keep going, man. Thank you for that kind
Mhm.
word.
Well, that's how I feel when I watch you play.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, sheesh.
That's how I feel when I watch you play, man.
Yeah, see,
So
I love it. The Mutual
it's true.
Admiration Society, man.
It's true,
But-
and I'm not the one that gave Dave Wecko a lesson at Passive.
Yeah, I just took a picture with him. No, I didn't really teach him a lesson.
Well, how
Let that
about you, Rick? Rick,
let that be a lesson to you.
This it's always fun before a deck show because there's all the behind the scenes conversations on what are we going to talk about. We've been doing this for 5 years, and so Jeremy and I, we played with a couple ideas, and I was thinking about at PASIC. We were watching one of the clinics. It was a packed house, and Jeremy's like, "This is one of the best drummers in the world." And I tend to agree that this player was one of the best. And um, the playing was complex, I would have to say. So I took a video, a little snippet of this drummer, and sent it out to someone. And the feedback I got was, "Ah, eh." It was like, I don't know. It just sounded so confusing to me. Those cowbells sounded all out of
Oh,
place.
yeah, I know who you're talking about
Like
now. Yeah,
like
yeah.
it didn't even make sense to me. It's just like, I and I enjoy other drummers more than that person, but it was just a really honest opinion, and that just really got me thinking about focusing on what you love to do. What were you going to say, Jeremy? You had a thought on that.
Well, just that, uh, there's best and favorite are two different things, and
Ah,
yeah,
there's best technically, like
yes.
the guy you're talking about, he, in my opinion, like, you know, just like a savant of understanding and rhythmic knowledge and complexity and all this Latin stuff and odd
Mhm.
time, like way over my head. So
Yeah.
like, technically and rhythmically, like just so far advanced. That doesn't mean, necessarily that I like to have a bunch of albums with him playing on it, or that I like to
Mhm.
enjoy his music as much as I do other stuff. So I think there's not a lot of arguing with that, like that he's
Yeah.
one of the top, technicians and rhythmatists in the world, but that doesn't mean you
Yeah.
connect with the music. That's a totally different thing.
That's a different thing, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
So I
And
mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry, like the other guy we saw, Ash Sohn, who's like one of the top studio drummers in the UK, like he was my favorite drummer the whole show.
Him and Omar Hakim for me.
Hakeem. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
and it wasn't, a fraction as complicated. So it's not about complexity that makes it good or compelling
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
itself, but it is impressive. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. When
I
I
think
watch,
it depends on what the goal is. Do you want to make a career out of it, or I think Chip's onto something. If you want to make a career out of it, I'm working on a shuffle. I'm working on this. I think you should have a lot of diversity in your drumming if you want to make a career out of it.
well, and doesn't that dovetail nicely with our discussion about what are your priorities? Because if you're wanting to play music that is technically demanding,
Yeah.
right, that is really advanced and complex and super syncopated and has got all these layers, you have to prioritize differently, let's say, maybe, than somebody who wants to play in a country band.
Right. Right.
Right. And you
Right.
could be a kick-ass country band drummer playing with all the biggest country stars and playing on platinum records and all that and making big money. And, like, who was it that was on our show who was playing with some big country guy? And he said,
Was it the Dwight Yoakam's drummer, Mitch
yes, yes,
Marine? Mitch
yes,
Marine.
yes.
I
And he
think,
said,
yeah.
no, I don't need to practice paradiddles.
Yeah.
Dwight Yoakam doesn't care if I play paradiddles. Has nothing to do with anything for me. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Marine said drummers practice the stupidest.
Yeah, right. Well, for him, that makes sense because of what, in his shoes, it's all about time and feel and, playing just the right part for the song. And that is most of the time what it is. Right. But if you're into metal, you've got to prioritize your double bass technique, and you've got to
Oh yeah.
prioritize your,
Yeah, you do.
your speed and your cleanliness and all that stuff. And if you're playing, with a singer-songwriter, you need a whole different bag of tricks.
Yes. So what's the commonality then? If you have all of these different styles and you have all these passions for all of these different styles and you have all these different goals. Some people have huge ambitions, some people are just hobbyists, but maybe we could center it down
Yeah.
to what are the commonalities that
One of the
you should
commonalities I think for drummers across the board is timekeeping.
Yeah.
The ability to stay steady and to keep a living pulse to the music and provide a solid beat in some way, shape, or form is common in all forms of music.
Yes. And so what are your quick techniques for developing timekeeping, Chip?
Well, I usually start off with a cartoon picture of a motorcycle with the little metronome driving down the street, and they're trying to line up in time together, go the same rate of speed. Then I go with a monster truck. I'm not talking about kids. We talk about you're the monster truck and here's the car, and you want to go as fast. And what happens if you're going in front of the monster truck? He's like, well, you should slow down. And what happens if you're behind the monster truck? Well, you should speed up. So I kind of do that. That's basically my introduction to timekeeping. And then we go into the metronome and we try to click in time with it,
Yeah.
try to anticipate the sound and click our sticks in time before we even touch the drums.
I like that.
That's big. Right away. You're
time.
timekeeping and clicking the sticks. I like that. What about you, Jeremy?
Just if I can, just a quick comment on what Chip just talked about. I mean, I think that's, we all know how to be in time. I think when we walk at a steady pace most of the time when we're not thinking about it. Our hearts beat when we're not at the same rate when we're at rest or when we're walking or whatever. And so we know what that thing feels like. It's just a matter of like training your hands and feet to move in time and also to focus on the right thing when you're playing. So you're listening because, when you're doing it on your own, it's one thing, but when you're doing it with other people, there's this collective time that you have to be part of. And that means listening and being hyper attuned to your interaction with other people musically. Anyway, I agree with Chip. Timekeeping is one of the universal sort of connectors of all the different styles of music.
Yep.
Touch. I think touch is a really, really, really big one.
As in dynamics of
it's not just
soft and loud, or being able to go soft, medium, and loud.
Well, so dynamics and touch to me are related, but they're not the same thing. So dynamics to me is like sort of overall your how loud you present your part, your drum set part. Like, is the song loud? Are you going big, or is the song quiet? And are you playing quiet? And then touch is also like, how you strike the cymbals and how you strike the drums and what sounds you get out of them when you play them with your sticks and the way you move them. And, we talk about feel, and that's one of the big words in drumming, and it's so critically important for being a good drummer, no matter what style. So feel, I put that in that same universal category too. But, and people say, oh, I don't get over all that technical stuff. I'm more of a feel player. Well, to be a player with good feel, you still have to physically produce something. You still have to move the stick. You still have to strike the drum and pull the stick up or rebound it or whatever. And so, all those things are technical, whether you believe that or not. Do you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not saying
they
you have to
are.
go
They
down the
are.
rabbit
Yeah.
hole of like protractors and slide rules, but like
Yeah.
there is something about how you hold the stick, how you move the stick, how it interacts with the thing you hit, that has to do with your touch and the sound that you're able to produce on the drum set, right? So,
Yeah.
example, like if you took a beginner and sat them down and said, play this beat, and they could play it steady. Okay, their time is good and they're quiet. And then you sat Rick down and said, Rick, play that same beat at the same tempo and play it quiet. He would do it too, but boy, would they sound different.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah,
the time is the same, the dynamics are the same, but the touch is different.
Yes. I
So like
so
the
enjoyed your
application.
oh, I so enjoyed your clinic at Deck Day at Aquarian, Jeremy, where you were talking about touch, where you would lay down a groove and then let's start playing around with the different touches, as in, can you keep the kick and the snare the same volume, but now I want a softer hi-hat?
Right.
Or how about the hands are the same and I'm bringing out a louder kick? Or even I think you touched on this too, like every time you hit the snare, is the hi-hat going louder, or is this hi-hat just super steady? So it's all those nuances that I think are super super important. If you grab a book and you go kick snare, okay, I got it. No, you're just scratching the surface of how to play the instrument with
Right.
that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember going to one of my first open jams in Tucson at our bar called Berkey's, and I was out in the parking lot, and they were talking about this band or that band, and just a circle of people in the parking lot, and you could hear the band inside, and everything was cool, and then all of a sudden I heard this this
Yeah.
groove, and
Yeah.
everybody in the circle was kind of unconsciously going like this,
Yep.
and it was like that was when that drummer Deacon, the main guy that hosted the jam, got up and played, and everybody out there aside from me knew that it was him just because of the groove. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. I think that's a definite necessity as far as timekeeping and touch, is to be able to create a groove.
That's
Agreed.
right. That's what's going to create the groove. That's my whole books are based on that concept, where here's the
Yeah.
steady beat, and then here's all of these songs that on paper the beat is exactly the same,
But
but
it's executed a little bit
touch,
different.
the touch and the dynamics
The
is different
touch.
tune to tune. And then
So
of course the tuning and the sound of the drum
sure.
is
Yeah, and
different
the, and
song
and the
to
sound of
song.
the drums and the heads you pick and right and the
Right.
stick you use. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
so you can paint a picture of all these different scenarios where like you've got a jazz drummer playing with a piano trio and they have a certain drums with certain heads, certain tuning, certain sticks, certain touch. And then on the other extreme, you've got, the metal dude with, different heads, different tuning, different drums, different sticks, different touch. And then you've got the classic rock dude somewhere in the middle. Again, all the things are different, but they're unique. But the point is that in all the situations that, you could say like the commonality is that they're all approaching the song to make the music sound good, right? The way it's
Yeah.
supposed to sound.
Yeah.
And you have to bring the right everything to do that. You're right.
Right.
The right equipment, but also the right attitude and the right feel, and the right dynamics and the right, pocket, front edge of the beat, back edge of the beat,
Yeah.
whatever. And so it's like, we're chameleons, right?
Yep.
So that's the thing is like the commonality is that we're all fitting the music, serving the song, let's say, like Bart likes to say, uh, but the tools you use, both, you know, physically and also, you know, in within yourself, are different.
Yes. Yes. You
James
know,
B. Harrison, thanks for
ah,
watching. Timekeeping has become much more essential these days because of recording in loops. Feel is the most essential to me. Thanks, James.
that's right, James. Watch James's videos, man. That dude's got feel.
Mm-hmm.
He's the
Ooh,
shuffle king.
ooh. Oh yeah. Yes. So, all right. So we talked about timing and, playing with a metronome. Of course, I'm always talking about playing to steady beat songs just to get you in the game if you're just getting started to help build this. And then we're talking the dynamics, being able to play soft, medium, and loud, and then the touch and the feel. So, what else could be a priority
I
for
think I
that
think that
covers all the bases?
Jeremy touched on it. He said attitude. You know, a big part of execution when you're playing a song and you're performing on the instrument is your attitude towards the situation. You know, who are you listening to? Are you being considerate? Are you supporting the song? Where's your head at? What's your goal while you're playing the song? That's an important thing to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
No doubt. I'm kind of thinking one of the big vital things that a lot of people really, really miss as drummers is learning song arrangements right away.
Mm.
We're worried about fast paradiddles or polyrhythms or what's the fancy stuff, but knowing this is the intro, it's a 4-bar intro, and then the arrangement is verse, pre-chorus, chorus, how many bars of each, and
Mhm.
knowing that arrangement. I mean, that's vital no matter where you're at with as a drummer, whether you're a beginner or pro, no matter what the style is, getting starting, it's really deep listening to music, and
Yeah, I have a map that I use with my younger kids that has a basic song structure in it and little cartoon drawings. And the first one is Intro Town. And then then we have a little road and we travel the
Won't you
road
take me
down
to
intro
Intro
town?
Town.
town.
Exactly. And then we go to Verseville and then around the corner to Chorus City and
Yeah.
over the bridge. And,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
I
Over
like
the
it.
bridge.
I used to went back in the early days of teaching rock band workshops. We taught the classes in this after school room. We were renting out a school for a while, and they had these giant Lego blocks, and I would put them together to represent the song. So I was like, okay, the white Lego block is the intro, the green one's the verse, the yellow one's the chorus, and I would make a stack of Lego blocks so they could see a visual representation of how the
That's
song
a great
structure was.
idea.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
kind of
That's
like
cool.
Intro Town.
Yeah.
Like a good clinic stuff.
You know what's another
I
one?
like
I
clinic
got
stuff.
another one on the technical side for you, Rick.
Yeah.
And to me, this is like one of the core. It's absolutely one of the forks in the road that separates, really good drummers from amateurs, and
Yeah.
that's accents.
That that's that was on the tip of my tongue, and because when we talk dynamics, I often think about the accents when we're talking dynamics, and that makes everything musical. Just think about 16th notes out of floor tom with and without accents. The
Right.
difference with and without. Let me do that.
Give
I'm
it
gonna
to
give
us.
you some 16 notes on the floor tom with no accents. And now I'll put some accent.
Play the same tempo. Play the same tempo.
Okay. No accents. With. No accents. So
Nice.
I don't know if that audio worked.
Yeah, we
but
could
I
hear.
can totally tell.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
So your accents give you the ability to make notes more expressive, right? There's like a
right.
rhythm. And not all accents are necessarily created equally. You have accent. You can have half accented. You can have ghost notes and whatnot. And these are the things that make your groove more expressive, or your parts more, your fills too.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is like a really big thing. When you hear amateur, beginner drummers play, there's no accent control whatsoever. Everything's kind of evenly weighted. Doom, doom, da, doom, dugga, 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 right?
Yes.
Yeah, or if
you're
they're on an electric kit, sometimes they play the hi-hat way too loud.
right.
That's a big thing, for a lot of teenage drummers who get into metal and punk. I see a lot of them here at the studio, and it's all just one blaring. They've got louder.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I mean that speaks to, I think most drummers, like, they play one way. Most amateur, a lot of my students, like, I would bet that if I put a blindfold on and had all my students come in one by one and sit down at the drums and play, for 4 bars, I bet you I could tell who's who on like 70, 75,
Probably
80,
could. You probably
75% of
could.
them, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone has a sound. And as you're a more advanced player, that can be a good thing. Like, we hear, you hear like Max Roach, like, oh, right away that's Max Roach or Buddy Rich, what have you. But for them, it's not that. It's not a voice. It's like just like it's actually a lack of a voice. Like, it's everything's kind of, you know, unrefined and rudimentary and
Well, they're still finding their way. Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So that again, that comes back down to sort of like touch and how you make the drum sound. But I think my point is that people have kind of a comfort zone, and you kind of get used to playing a certain way. And every time you sit down at the drums, you play at the same volume, and you play with the hi-hat the same tightness, and you play the same speed most of the time, and you get really good at like doing the same thing and sounding the same way. And
Yes.
again, I think to be a really good drummer, you have to be more chameleon-like. You have to be more adaptable and,
Yes.
working on your dynamics, but
Improvise.
working on your accents is a really big way to start working on that control. So you can,
Yeah.
shade the color of a note by how loud you play it.
I have comfort fills and licks that I do when I'm not sure what to do. I just do this one thing or do that one thing. And I've tried to break myself out of that habit all the time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we all fall into using the same ideas. But that's not by itself the worst
No,
thing.
it's not bad.
Jeremy, do you remember the name of the two guys who gave the first clinic at PASIC? They were Nick
Costa and Mark.
Yes.
It was an Italian name, De Cecchio or something like that.
Yeah, their clinic was basically on the neurology of learning,
Yeah.
and there were so many great tidbits. I took photos of their slideshow, and I've been sharing
cool.
those all with my students. And one of the things that I liked that they said is not to just practice like one thing. They said not modular. There was a slide, and there were 15 things that they were practicing on all at once. And I know there's lots of approaches on this, and this fits right into what are your priorities. They suggested, and I'm just going to paraphrase them. We've got to get them on the show sometime. We talked about coming on the show. But what I got from what they were saying is you practice all of these diverse things. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and then the big thing was connect everything, and then play, and then practice in a musical context too.
Right.
So we've got so many resources. It's of course playing with clicks. That's why I like drumming along to steady beat songs that I list. I like going to YouTube, and there's all these drumless loops and drumless tracks. That's why I like so much playing with all my Roland loops over here, because I can put a loop on like I did this morning and just experiment. And I experiment with all these things with a musical feel. So it makes drumming really fun, and it makes your drumming really, really diverse and it keeps it from getting boring. I think it also keeps you from getting stuck. But that said, there's proponents of find the thing that you're not good at and practice that. That's not how I do it, but what are your thoughts on that, guys? Do you have
with my more advanced students? I'm always going, what is he not able to do? And the more advanced students, I'm always like looking at, okay, that one part of this beat that you're kind of hitching on, let's take that and break it down and figure out where the malfunction is. Like kind of like what Jeremy was talking about with accents, with the grid, you can go alternating 16th notes and accent the first one, then accent the second one while you're alternating, and you get all the hands and all the positions that are possible in in one measure of 16th notes. And usually just like that, there's a part in the beat or a part of where my hand goes first and then my hand goes after that, and then my foot's supposed to go in between, and that's where the problem is. So I'll break that down and kind of we'll get into that and rehearse that part that he can't do and get him up to where he can do it, and then we'll try to play what he was playing before, and 9 times out of 10 it'll sound much better. So I usually reverse engineer things with my more advanced students.
That's great. You kind of refine what they're working on and make it clean rather than skating over it.
Cleaning it up. Cleaning it up.
I think that's these things go together, like diversity.
There's also
cleaning them all up.
Yeah. There's also younger students that are trying to play something like more of a rock thing, but it's just not really fitting in or filling in with the groove, and it doesn't have that groove sensibility to it. And I found that if I work on them with shuffles more, then they're able to understand the concept of swing itself and maybe relax their beats a little bit and end up sounding more full by just having more of an awareness of shuffles. So it's kind of weird. Sometimes that happens.
I noticed that too a lot. Like if things are too stiff, let's get into that shuffle world, and then the rock stuff is a little more buttery.
Buttery.
I find that it's a segue. I find that if people it's easier for them to play a shuffle than like a swing jazz pattern. So
like when I was doing the lesson with Jeremy and he was talking about second line stuff, and I was playing and he's like a little more greasy. So
more butter.
More butter,
more
grease.
Put more butter on it.
Yeah. That's so
I
cool.
love it.
There's endless possibilities. That's why this instrument is so
drumming priorities.
Yes.
Well, think about all the great drummers we saw at PASIC, and how different they were.
Right.
How different they sounded. You know. I mean, it's as unique as humans.
There's an observation I make that with all my students is that the personality comes out. There's something in their playing that is a lot like their personality.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
And look at all of us. I mean, us three, and Bart, and Fred, and Jim, and James. Everybody, all the people who are on deck, and we're all different. We're all so different. And we were having this chat before the show started on how we hold the sticks, and we're not even exactly aligned on how we hold the sticks.
Well, that's another good argument for the fundamentals of drumming when you're teaching people how to learn that. I mean, you're right. In one sense, it's not about all paradiddles, but the ability to execute paradiddles allows them to find their voice in different ways. The ability to have that fundamental mechanic, to build that fundamental skill helps them to execute and express themselves better.
Yes.
Right.
So when they want to say what they want to say, they're allowed to find the words.
Right. It's, that's right. How can you speak the language if you don't speak the language?
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yeah. Rudiments have got to fit in there in prioritizing. It's
agree. Yeah. I used to be less into it, and now I've come around to like the last 15 years to like how important they are, especially if you're playing anything that's like jazz where requires soloing, like that's your vocabulary.
Yeah. I just have to pepper them in with my students because of
you got to be. Well, you can't overwhelm them in the beginning with it, because who wants that? That's not why you take up drums.
Yeah, nobody wants to go through that stick control by themselves all day.
Yeah, or learn the rudiment ritual when you're, a beginner drummer. That's not how you should. I don't believe that's the way to do it either. I think, so many people we've had all proves the point. Like, you got to keep it fun. You got to give people things that are challenging, but that they can succeed with. And you got to get them playing the music they love to play. That's enjoyable. Yeah. And then
my mom used to always tell me, seek balance.
Yeah. In the force. Right.
Yeah. And I think so much comes down to like, what is your passion? If your passion is jazz, then go with that. If your passion is metal, go with that.
Totally,
You
totally.
know, but with your eyes wide open that diverse styles are going to make you better at the thing that you love, you
Well,
know,
and also open up other opportunities. I
and
mean,
open up other doors, right?
I was
you know,
a
Exactly.
rock drummer. I was a metal rock drummer in 1997. I played in a metal band, original metal band, and I'm Mr. Metal Guy. I had wrestling shoes and the double bass thing, the whole 9 yards. And I got on the cruise ship and I got my first professional gig as a country drummer.
mm,
And I was just like, I had my nose up at country because I was like, yeah, whatever, it's country. Yeah, not a problem. And I was overwhelmed with the nuances and the subtleties and the differences and the just the genre of country. At that time, the music wasn't so poppy as it is now, not drum machine as it is now. It was actual drummers doing different feels and all these old school country songs. And I had to learn, I had to revisit swing and shuffles and different beats and the accents and the different, how to be delicate on the hi-hat, but then prominent on that cross stick stuff. All this stuff it learning country made me a better metal drummer in the long run.
There it
You
is.
know,
totally believe it.
gave me
So
more perspective.
so my brother-in-law Gene Hoglan, one of the top metal drummers in the world. Who do you think his favorite drummer is? Take a guess.
Ooh, I like
Take
this
a
question.
guess.
It's a
Take a
trick.
Ringo
It's a
Starr.
trick. It's a trick question.
It's and this is a fact.
Oh man, is
Yeah.
it? Well, give us a hint. Is it a jazz drummer? Not
Not a
really.
jazz drummer and not a metal drummer.
Is a famous drummer?
You know,
Not
Is
so
he
much.
alive?
possibly, yeah, he is alive, and he possibly is not even known as a drummer. He's not on.
Stevie
John
Wonder.
That
Stamos.
is correct. That is correct. Stevie Wonder is Gene's
Stevie
favorite drummer.
Wonder.
And you drive around with Gene, and on the
I
Sirius
didn't see
XM,
that
he's got
coming.
liquid metal. He's
Hmm.
got liquid metal. He knows like every band, every person, played on every other album, but then he'll switch over to the Soul Station.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it's like, what is it
Wow,
about his
Stevie
feel?
Wonder.
And there it is. Yeah.
We-
Yeah,
guys,
just listen to Superstitious. Just listen to the feel of the song Superstitious. That's Stevie Wonder on the drums.
we got
Yeah.
some great comments. I'm going to share these. Fred says, "Timekeeping feel is all important, but so is knowing what the other instrumentation is and how it influences the texture of the drum parts." That's a great comment.
Yeah, Fred.
I used to play in a band with a country, sort of Americana guy, singer songwriter, and we had a big show, and he brought in this keyboard player just for the show. We never played with a keyboard player; it was guitar, bass, drums, and voice. And the keyboard player was really great. She played with all these famous people, and when she added her parts, it made me feel like, oh, I got to change my parts now, like texturally, like it felt like a different blend, and I needed to do something different with how I was contributing to the songs because it wasn't as edgy, or something. So I totally agree with you, Fred. And then James says Russ Miller had a book many years ago called Drum Set Crash Course, where he's written out styles, but also a mix council slider visual of the hi-hat, snare, and kick drum volume to help develop feel. Oh,
There it is.
yeah, that's like the
Yeah.
slider. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I always use that analogy. Like you think of yourself as an engineer, with the sliders adjusting the volume of each part of the kit to blend it. You have to be your own engineer. Like,
Being able to do different dynamics on different limbs is a whole nother priority.
Man, you know what? Thank you, James. I just got better at teaching because thinking about the slider with the mix is going to be a great way to describe that to people.
Yeah.
Hey, there's my student Roseanne.
Hey, Roseanne says everything you're all speaking about is what? Everything you all speaking to is what came here for as a new student. Reading Jeremy's book.
Here.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Reading Jeremy's book, a gift, and really identify with so many of skills to practice. Thank you. That's awesome. Love hearing that. Appreciate that.
Yes, you guys got to get Jeremy's book if you haven't. Finding the Groove is where it's at.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, man. Roseanne just went on a big road trip, and she read your book through the road trip.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, like a great idea with a dynamic. I was just thinking about Russ Miller. He did a saw a video of his, instead of just like 16ths on each drum, decka, 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 he's like accent the too soft, too loud, decka, 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 boom. And just that alone just opened up the fill. It made it
Changes
so
the
much
whole
more
thing.
musical.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm curious right now what your guys' priorities are, and I can share you what mine are too. So in drumming, like
drumming,
practice or just in general.
For
staying in shape for me is to stay in shape and keep playing, because I can easily stop practicing as much as I want to. Like, I try to put in an hour a day, and sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I don't have time. I'll just do 20 minutes. Oh yeah, I'll just do 10. Next thing I know, I'm like not doing it. And pretty soon after I'm not doing it, my skill sets fall off. You know what I mean? I stop being able to reach there's a level I'm at where I consider myself 100%. And if I'm around 85, I can do gigs, but I can't play with the ease and comfort that I'm normally accustomed to unless I'm at 100% with my skill levels.
Mm,
So that's one of my priorities, is to keep
cool.
that at 100 if I can.
Oh, it's pretty cool. What about you, Jeremy?
You mean for me as a player?
Yeah, like right now, what are your
What am I kind of working on right now these days?
yeah, what are you kind of working on? Yeah, what are
I'm
you
working
working
on some Chip Ritter-esque. I'm not even kidding. Like linear hand and foot moves.
on?
For to get them really fast and smooth, and to be able to use them in drum solos when drummers kind of really go for that really dense that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't play double bass, so this is with single bass drum pedal. I'm just trying to get that, this kind of stuff for when I just on those rare occasions when I really want to be able to go for it and have this really dense Chip Ritter-esque flashy thing. That's what I'm working on right now.
Nice.
Too so cool.
I want to see a video of that. I can't wait to see that.
Oh man, yeah. Well, maybe a while.
What about you, Rick? What are your drumming priorities right now? What are you working on?
My dedication is as an educator right now, and that's my focus, and it's been that way for a lot of years. And then so part of that is creating a curriculum, right? And creating the curriculum has actually made me a better drummer.
Sure.
Because as you know, I take a topic. I mean, I'm working on the 4 books are out. I'm working on the 5th How to Build a Drum Groove book, which is specialty beats. And so that's a real commitment, because I can't just write a book on specialty beats without taking a deep dive. So
And
right
learning
now,
them,
yeah. So right now, I'm just finishing up this calypso soca play-alongs, and I've got like 40 different kind of soca beats and calypso beats, and you see how all these styles just start blending and have influence, and what's that style called? What's this style called? And then I just get so excited about it, and then I get to beta test all that out on my students who are up for that. So I'm just kind of serving the studio and my business of offering a lot of content, and that's making me a better drummer. And then
Right
you
on.
realize as you get that you got to dive in deep. You could take I realize like I could take any chapter that's been in any of the books and write a whole book just on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I look
Right.
at it and go, oh man, I'm giving 32 examples of this, and I go, man, that's a lot. And then I go, no, it's not a lot.
Yeah,
Because
right,
to
right.
really understand it or master it, whatever you want to call it, man, it takes a deep dive, not just this little surfacey kind of approach. So that's super fun. So we'll see how, and that's kind of what when I did that loopy kind of thing, I kind of had a little of that soca, sort of a blend Brazilian soca. So a lot like
Yeah,
Loopy inspired.
it's easy to underestimate forms of music when you're a drummer and you have a ego and an identity. And I remember joining the reggae band and finding out that this dance hall thing, well, I got the dance hall beat, just show me the beat. I got it, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But when I'm listening to the songs, each song had a different little something going on with the drum part that wasn't just necessarily your generic dancehall beat. You can't just do that. You have to
Mhm.
get into the music and really listen and use your ears to duplicate what that drummer was doing in order
Mhm.
to really serve the song. So I
That's
had to,
it.
there's a big world underneath that the iceberg. We see the top of
Yeah,
it,
right.
but there's a big one below it. There's a whole world below that holding it up.
That's
right.
it.
And
Yeah.
that's true for everything, for all the styles, right?
Yeah, for all the
Yeah.
styles.
Yeah. It's it's deep. I tell you what, learning to read music is a big help in all of this because then I can reference different articles and different books and I'm not going to get a chance to study with but I could pick
Well,
up
you're
10
preaching to
method
the
books and
choir
start
for reading
reading.
music.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's funny. You just jogged my memory. When I was a 15-year-old taking drum lessons in New York City with this guy Norman Grossman, his whole thing about the pillars, the priorities of drumming were the 4 R's. That was his thing, was the 4 R's, and that was you want to guess what the 4 R's were?
Reading,
Yes,
rhythm.
yes,
I don't know.
Reading rhythm. Rock.
no.
No, I'm trying to be funny. Reading rhythm.
What were like the fundamentals of drumming? The 4 things we need to work on all the time.
Arithmetic.
No, rudiments.
Oh,
Rudiments.
the R word.
Yeah, the R words and rolls. Yeah, those were his.
Rolls. Rudiments and rolls. I
Yeah.
like that. The
Are
4
rudiments
R's.
rolls, aren't they?
Rolls are rudiments, though. Yeah,
Isn't he double dipping on one of
he's
the
double
R's?
dipping. He's double dipping.
But 4 sounds a lot more
That's
complete
why
than
he needs
3.
Exactly right.
that's why he needs rock in there. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. And Fred
Yeah.
had one more good comment. He said, I had a discussion with a student yesterday, specifically on how much pressure your foot has on the hi-hat and how that one thing alone can completely change the groove or sound of a song. Fred, I completely 1,000% agree. I feel like the
Yeah.
pressure on the hi-hat sound is like one of the biggest determiners of the feel for a song.
Mhm. No doubt.
And that's where if you have a drum student who's playing only on an electric kit, there's a whole world to the hi-hat that they haven't really
Right.
the ability to get into
That's
with
right.
most electric kits that don't have that dynamic response
Even
on
the
the
best
hi-hat.
ones are not that great.
Yeah, there's a whole new world of cymbals,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed if you put your foot way back on the hi-hat, like way at the end of the floorboard, the
Mhm.
hi-hat tends to be a little looser.
Sure.
It's not even a pressure thing, it's where you put your foot. I put my foot closer to the hi-hat towards the pedal. It naturally goes a little tighter. I go
Oh
back
yeah.
and it's a little looser. And it's not obvious how to play this instrument, that's for sure.
You can also experiment with heel up, heel down.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember watching drummers when I first started playing as a young kid, watching them play the hi-hat with their left foot and it terrifying me. It was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, how am I going to ever learn that,
Yeah.
One of the things, speaking of hi-hat, when I start working on opening hi-hats with students, right, they open the hi-hat way too high,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
right? So you get that
Yeah.
really clangy, ringy sound. And I said, no,
Mhm.
you actually don't even need to really separate them. You can just sort of barely relax the pressure and you get that. If you hit it hard enough, you get a nice sizzle.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
there's so much subtlety.
The
Yep.
shushiness.
Yeah.
Man. Well, we've been going for 5 years and maybe we just scratched the surface.
Yeah. That's why we can keep going, because there's so much
Yeah.
to talk about.
There's
Yeah.
there's a whole world out there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for tuning in with us today. We love your comments. We love your participation in our little community here. And
Thanks,
we hope
James. Thanks, Fred.
this has been of value to you. And we'll be back next week with another topic, still to be determined. But in 2 weeks, on the 16th, we're going to have our annual holiday show. We call it Deck the Halls, and that's when we have product recommendations for gifts for drummers and gear that we like that we turned on to this year.
And
And
somebody's going to win some cool stuff.
hopefully we'll have some giveaways as well. So if you tune in, you'll be eligible to win some products from some of our sponsors, hopefully. And we'll see you guys again soon. Rick, play us out.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.